Dear friends, welcome to another episode of Spokemaster. In this video, we will discuss the profound weakening of Hezbollah and the opportunity for Lebanon to rid itself of an Iranian-backed extremist group that has held the country hostage for decades. To understand what is happening, we need to go back in time. Hezbollah is not just an extremist military group, classified as terrorist by many countries. It is, above all, a multifaceted organization that combines a political party, a paramilitary force, and an extensive network of social services. Founded in 1982 during the Israeli occupation of southern Lebanon, the group emerged with Iranian support to resist Israeli presence and spread Iranian influence in the region. In the following decades, Hezbollah grew exponentially, securing the loyalty of the Shiite community, Lebanon's largest religious minority, mainly through providing basic infrastructure, education, and health services in areas historically neglected by the central government. This combination of social benefits and military capability transformed the group into an unparalleled force in Lebanon, becoming more powerful than the national army itself. Politically, Hezbollah used its military strength as a bargaining chip, gaining seats in parliament and disproportionate influence over the government. It became a kind of state within a state, controlling ports, borders, and exercising veto power over crucial decisions. Moreover, its alliance with Bashar al-Assad's regime in Syria and with Iran solidified its role as one of the main actors in the so-called Axis of Resistance, a coalition of groups and countries opposing Israel and the United States in the Middle East. However, this hegemony did not come without costs. Hezbollah's dominance has bred resentment among other Lebanese sectarian groups, particularly among Maronite Christians and Sunnis, who felt marginalized by a deeply imbalanced political system. This internal tension, combined with external pressures, has left Lebanon in a vulnerable position, dependent on international actors for some stability. Now, after years of nearly uncontested rule, recent events are profoundly shaking Hezbollah's power structures and creating an inflection point in Lebanese politics unseen in the last 40 years. But what exactly happened to change this scenario so drastically? First, Hezbollah suffered severe losses in the war with Israel. This was not just a military conflict, but also a battle of narratives. For years, Hezbollah presented itself as Lebanon's sole protector against what it always described as Israeli aggression, but with the destruction of much of its arsenal and the elimination of key leadership figures, this promise lost credibility among many Lebanese. Additionally, the economic costs of the war are astronomical. Lebanon, already devastated by financial crises and the 2020 Beirut port explosion, now faces a reconstruction bill in the billions of dollars, questioning Hezbollah's ability to maintain its social support network like hospitals, schools, and community services, which were crucial for securing its base's loyalty. Another crucial factor was the fall of Bashar al-Assad's regime in Syria. For years, Hezbollah used Syria as a strategic corridor to receive weapon supplies and funding, mainly from Iran. But with rebels now in control, this flow has been interrupted, limiting not only Hezbollah's military power, but also weakening the Axis of Resistance, an alliance of Iranian-backed militias throughout the Middle East. We must not forget the regional impact as well. Iran, under increasing sanctions and diplomatic pressure, is increasingly isolated, deeply compromising its ability to finance allies like Hezbollah, leaving the Lebanese group in an even more vulnerable position, especially at a time when its legitimacy is in question. This weakening was recently evident when the Lebanese parliament finally elected a new president after years of political paralysis attributed to Hezbollah. The elected was General Joseph Aoun, former commander of the Lebanese armed forces, with his election seen as a milestone for the country's stability and an implicit concession from Hezbollah that it no longer has the power to paralyze the state. In his inaugural speech, Aoun highlighted the need to build a strong state and invest in the national army. He also made reference to Hezbollah's disarmament by stating that the state should monopolize the use of arms, something particularly significant in a country where armed militias have historically been sources of instability. But is Hezbollah truly defeated? Many analysts say it's too early for definitive conclusions. Despite the hard blows, the group remains Lebanon's most influential political force, more due to the fragmentation and dysfunction of the political system than to its own intrinsic strength. Moreover, Hezbollah is still an extremely well-armed military organization. The coming months will be decisive, and among the challenges is the reconstruction of war-devastated areas. Hezbollah will also face increasing pressure for disarmament, with General Aoun and other leaders openly advocating that the use of arms should be exclusive to the state. The ceasefire with Israel, which includes the withdrawal of its forces from southern Lebanon, will be another crucial test to measure the group's ability to comply with international agreements and avoid new conflicts. Another important aspect is maintaining its internal support base. Although Hezbollah still counts on the loyalty of a large portion of the Shiite population, recent military and economic failures could open space for discontent. Social movements and emerging leaders who previously feared challenging the group might now begin to organize, fostering a new political landscape in Lebanon. Lastly, Hezbollah must deal with the rapidly and profoundly changing regional dynamics. The end of Assad's regime in Syria, the weakening of Iran, combined with the resurgence of influence from powers like Saudi Arabia and Lebanon, create an environment where the group can no longer operate with the same autonomy and influence as before. The external support that was once guaranteed is now conditional on political and military factors, not solely dependent on Hezbollah. With this group's weakening, Lebanon now stands at an inflection point. The rise of General Joseph Aoun could mark the beginning of a new political era, but also brings uncertainties. As Hezbollah struggles to maintain its influence in a context of rapid and deep changes, Lebanon now holds in its hands the opportunity it has long sought to become a nation free from the influence of groups seeking only war. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe now and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates.